Hello and welcome to Nationwide, reaching you on the network service of the Nigerian Television Authority. I am Lami Ali. You can follow this broadcast live on nta.ng/live and all our social media handles displayed on the screen. Now, the Supreme Court has granted some reliefs sought by 12 states challenging the federal government's demonetization policy. The 7-man panel of justices, in a unanimous verdict delivered by Justice Emmanuel Agim, ordered that the old 200, 500 and 1,000 naira notes should coexist with new ones till 31st December 2023 as legal tender. Judiciary correspondent Austin Anyebe brings us the details.
Kogi, Kaduna, and Zamfara states were the initial plaintiffs in the matter challenging the demonetization policy of the federal government. The initial plaintiffs were later joined by additional 9 states as joinders in the matter, leading to the consolidation of the suit. The Attorney General of the Federation and Minister of Justice, also joined by Edo and Bayelsa states as defendants, made conditional appearance and challenged the jurisdiction of the Supreme Court to adjudicate on the matter. The defendants also challenged the legal rights of the states as plaintiffs to institute the matter. In determining the preliminary objections, the Apex Court ruled that it has the jurisdiction to hear the matter, being the suit between the federal government, of which the president is head, versus the states as the federating unit. The court frowned at the unilateral directive to CBN without consultation with the Federal Executive Council, the National Council of States, the National Economic Council, and others who are constituents in a federation as required in matters that affect citizens in a democratic government. Justice Emmanuel Agim, who delivered a unanimous judgment, also held that the earlier 3-month period given for the 100, 500, and 1,000 naira odd notes to cease as legal tenders was not in line with the provision in the CBN Act 2007. The 7-man panel of justices frowned on the failure of one of the defendants to obey the interim order made on the 8th February 2023. To this end, the court granted all the relief sought by the plaintiffs and ordered that the old 200, 500, and 1,000 naira odd note should coexist as legal tender till 31st of December 2023 with the new naira notes.
I expect the CBN to comply. I expect the president to comply. We are a nation under law. The Supreme Court has spoken, and we are bound.
As counsel to the plaintiffs and beneficiary of this judgment, we shall take steps within the confines of the law to ensure that whoever that is in contempt of court or does not comply with the Supreme Court decision is brought to book. When the Supreme Court speaks, everybody in accordance with the Constitution must obey the judgment of the Supreme Court. So,
3 governors who first approached the court comment.
We are APC members. The president of Nigeria is from the APC, but we disagreed with him on this policy and its implementation.
This particular decision today has proven that Nigerian law is a respecter of no one.
The verdict foreclosed the initial issues surrounding the demonetization policy of the government, as well as pointing out that the CBN, as an agent of the federal government, does not need to be a joinder in the matter. From the Supreme Court, Austin Anyebe, NTA News.
Now we shall, in the course of the bulletin, join our business desk correspondent, Bosede Abel, for reactions on the streets concerning the Supreme Court judgments. Now, an explosion has hit a crude oil tapping station in Rumekwe in Emohua local government area of Rivers State, where the police command has confirmed 12 persons dead and says investigation is ongoing. The alert was raised by the Youth and Environmental Advocacy Center through its crude oil spill alert system and members of its 1 million youth volunteers network of human rights defenders, which explained that the explosion happened at about 2 a.m. this Friday, March 3rd. And it is being attributed to one of the buses loaded with crude oil causing a spark. Reports say the explosion and fire has left dozens dead, with many other vehicles burnt to ashes as the tapping points on the Trans-Niger Delta pipeline, which passes through the community. Let's hear more from our correspondent, Kingsley Amajiri, who is on ground to give us an update. Over to you now, Kingsley. What's the situation on ground at that place of the accident?
Rumebe is in a local government area. Will reliably gather that this fire you're seeing here is an explosion from a pipeline as early as about around 4:30 to 5 a.m. this early morning when the incident occurred. Reliably gathered that some persons were trying to product from that gas pipeline, and the explosion occurred. About 10 vehicles or thereabouts were repeatedly burnt in that incident. You could see some vehicles and keke, as well as over 20 persons, although not confirmed from the relevant. A number of concerns have been raised about this issue of illegal oil refining in Rivers State, and this is one of the sad realities you're seeing here. Before now, we've seen effort by the state government and the local government authorities to clamp down on these activities, but it appears the efforts are not yielding the right result. This incident is one of the evidences that activities of illegal refining is still occurring in Rivers. I have with me this local government chairman who has come on assessment tour of what has just happened.
It's very sad. I feel very, very sad about what is going on here. The mere fact that we lost, if just one life is bad enough, how much more? You look at the number of cars that are affected there, not less than 5 cars. So let's assume that we have 4 occupants in each of those cars. How many would that be? And I hear there were some who were doing the scoping.
Oh, there was a time the state government directed that these activities be clamped down in the local government area. What happened? What happened? Is it that you people relented?
The governor of Rivers State gave the marching order, and all the 23 council chairmen went to work. You remember we were almost nearly walking from the bush. We did all that. Then all of a sudden the federal government, of course, whose primary function it is to maintain all this, came in, the Minister of State for Petroleum.
As early as 4 a.m., we are here when it happened. As you can see, we've been able to rescue some of them. They are in the hospital. And
how many did you rescue?
We've been able to rescue 3 of them. Okay. Then you have only 1 corpse that you can see lying down there that was born beyond recognition.
How many persons were affected?
So far, when we came here, when they saw us coming in, they ran away. So we were able to see 1 dead body on the ground there, and we rescued 3. They were a little bit burnt before the flame gets to this extent.
In Rumepe community, there are also some of the indigenes who are concerned about what is happening here, and would like to also find out what the effort has been put in place to ensure that these activities of illegal oil refining end within the community.
People that will come from the company and also educate the people and tell them this is not good, things will change. The people are angry. But that to say that we agree or sanction this kind of business is not good. It's so detrimental to us. So we are appealing to government to help us.
Thank you, Kingsley, for that update from the scene of the pipeline explosion at Rumekwe. Moving on now, the Presidential Campaign Council of the President-elect Bola Ahmed Tinubu has cautioned the opposition political parties challenging the results of the February 21st, 2023 presidential election to pursue their grievances with decorum. At a media briefing in Abuja, the media team of the President-elect disclosed that a legal team has been constituted to meet the aggrieved parties in court. Salihu Gwanara reports.
The announcement and presentation of certificate of return to Bola Ahmed Tinubu as president-elect by the Independent National Electoral Commission has generated reactions from the camp of the first and second runner-up, who resolved to take legal action. The winning team appealed to the aggrieved parties to, in the spirit of sportsmanship, demonstrate the political will and encourage their members and supporters to follow the path of the rule of law.
The claim that INEC did not use beavers is patently false. Those who voted across Nigeria, including Atiku and Obi, were accredited by Beavers. The process of transmitting results from polling units, whether real-time, 2 days later, or at any time, for that matter, cannot in any way change the results that have been announced right after the counting in the presence of the party's agents and to the hearing of the voters at each polling unit.
That we are also going to be filing a cross petition to cancel the votes of Labour Party in virtually almost all the states in the Southeast.
This mandate was given by 8 million Nigerian citizens, born free, freely gave their, well, almost 9, freely gave their mandate. Are we to be pushed around? Are we to be told that we're insignificant? Are we not Nigerians as well? We will go to court. We will defeat them in court. We will defend our mandate.
The president-elect, the team said, has reactivated post-election reconciliation team in line with his agenda of presiding over a united country. In Abuja, Saliu Gwanara, NTA News.
Still on the outcome of last Saturday's presidential election, the APC Presidential Campaign Council says the group is happy that Asiwaju Bola Tinubu won the 2023 presidential election in Rivers State and enjoined him to be magnanimous in victory. Chairman of the local organizing committee, Tony Okucha, said this at a news briefing in Port Harcourt. Kingsley Amajiri reports.
For members of the local organizing committee, Presidential Campaign Council, the success of APC in Rivers State is not only historic, but a testament of resilience, commitment, and a firm belief in the political philosophy of Bola Tinubu.
APC Rivers won and scored over 40% of the total votes cast for the presidential candidate of our party. On this score, we thank our members who refuse to defect.
This was complemented by the support from Rivers State Governor Nyesom Wike. Chief Okocha, however, noted that it was worrisome that the mainstream chapter of APC in Rivers State rather supported another presidential candidate, adding that against all odds and risk, the local organizing committee members went through. Electorate in Rivers State voted for APC. The group urged the president-elect to channel his energies to address issues affecting the economy, security, infrastructure, and be magnanimous in victory. Ahead of the March 11, 2023 governorship election, the group enjoined Rivers electorate to be civil and approach the election with the spirit of sportsmanship. In Port Harcourt, Kingsley Amajiri, NTA News.
And the Independent National Electoral Commission, INEC, has held its regular weekly meeting and deliberated on several issues, including the presidential and National Assembly elections, the governorship and state assembly elections, the pending elections in Enugu East Senatorial District, and the Eson Central, Eson West, and Igwebem federal constituencies in Edo State. In a statement signed by the National Commissioner and Chairman, Information and Voter Education Committee, Festus Okoye, the Commission assures Nigerians that the governorship and State House of Assembly elections scheduled for Saturday, 11th March 2023 will hold as scheduled, and all the processes and procedures leading to the election are being finalized. Furthermore, the Commission will conduct the rescheduled elections in Enugu and Edo States on Saturday, 11th March 2023, along with the governorship and state assembly elections. The Commission is aware that in some senatorial districts and federal constituencies, declarations and returns were not made. The Commission is compiling the list of the affected constituencies. A date for supplementary elections will be fixed after the governorship and state assembly elections. Now, an Islamic group under the aegis of Jam'iyyat Ansari-Din at-Tijaniya, Nigeria, has commended the Independent National Electoral Commission (INEC) for a successful conduct of the presidential and National Assembly elections and called on political actors to put Nigeria first and join the president-elect to build a better Nigeria. This was at a news conference by the group in Abuja. Tokbe Alabi has more.
Some election observers have adjudged the presidential and National Assembly elections as transparent process, saying some political figures lost elections in their strongholds. Jam'iyyatu Ansari-Din at-Tijaniya commended the President Muhammadu Buhari for creating an enabling environment for INEC to work without interference.
The Jama also wish to use this opportunity to appeal to other Nigerians, particularly political aspirants who lost in the just concluded elections, to put the nation first and give peace a chance. They should separate with candor their expectations from the reality. In all circumstances, however, the INEC should be commended for a wonderful job. Nevertheless, INEC should learn from all the lapses experienced during this year's electoral process.
The group urged the President-elect Bola Ahmed Tinubu to run an all-inclusive government.
The Jagaba should be a president with the fear of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, who is fair to all citizens, and a leader of a government that will make all Nigerians proud.
Jam'iyyatu Ansari-Din at-Tijaniya is an Islamic organization for the adherents of Tijaniya order worldwide, with professionals in the academia and scholars across the country. In Abuja, Tokbe Alabi, NTA News.
Adiola is in Lagos with more reports on Nationwide. Hi, Adiola.
Hello, Lami. Good to see you. Commissioner of Police in Lagos State, Idowu Owohunwa, has called on Nigerians to reflect on the phase the country is going through and push aside their individual differences, ethnic and religious biases in the interest of promoting national peace and unity. He stated this at a security meeting with critical stakeholders on the review of the February 25 presidential and National Assembly elections in Lagos. Abolade Salami reports.
The 2023 presidential election that produced candidates of the All Progressives Congress, Asiwaju Bola Ahmed Tinubu, as president-elect and his running mate, Senator Kashim Shettima, as vice president-elect, was relatively peaceful, but not without some pockets of violence. A post-mortem of the security component of the election identified some security breaches at some polling units in the state, necessitating this stakeholders' engagement between Lagos State Commissioner of Police, Idowu Owohunwa, and some stakeholders. The ultimate agenda, he says, is to evolve needed strategies and protocols aimed at jointly mitigating any threat to public safety and security.
Support us to present a common front in confronting the real enemies of the people and the state, who are the criminal elements that are bent on threatening our valued peace, security, and livelihood.
While pointing out the key roles of the police and the electoral umpire at ensuring a credible exercise devoid of malpractices, stakeholders emphasized the need for Nigerians to embrace the culture of seeking redress to perceived electoral injustice in the court of law rather than resulting to violence.
All those who were arrested by your men and women last Saturday have to be charged before the court, if possible before the end of the week.
We must never bother with our blood. Life can never be replaced. All that we have to do must be done in a very peaceful and orderly manner.
As attention shifts to the coming governorship and House of Assembly elections, the meeting will commit to forging better synergy between the Electoral Commission and security agencies. In Lagos, Abolade Salami, NTA News.
Talking census now, a symbiotic relationship between National Population Commission and relevant stakeholders is pivotal to achieving an accurate data in the 2023 population and housing census. This informed the one-day workshop for journalists on effective reporting of the 2023 census.
Since the last population census in year 2006, the precise population of Nigerians has been based on projections, which many a times may not be accurate. The 2023 population and housing census, which will be conducted from March 29th to April 2nd by the NPC, is a way of changing this narrative through deployment of digital technology such as personal digital assistants and Census Pad, an homegrown solution which is a data collection application that will be deployed for the exercise. NPC Federal Commissioner for Lagos State, Bimbola Salu Undeyi, says journalists are crucial to the success of the exercise.
The mother of all data census is the mirror of the society. Nigeria will be able to see a proper mirror of itself, and we will be able to move at the right time to the right place, achieving the right results that will give everybody better life. This is what we want the media to do for us.
She assured that the Commission is fully prepared to give Nigeria a reliable data that will engender economic growth.
This time we're going to minimize a lot of errors. As we all know, that technology aids accuracy. Our census data this time will be much more accurate than what we've ever had.
The participants say they are ready to cooperate with the Commission to actualize the digital census.
I will enjoin my colleagues to also brace up, come out in full force as we have done during election to assist in this forthcoming census.
Aside from publicizing it, we engage our people, our neighbors at home, at work, on TVs, newspapers, Vox Pop, and so on and so on.
The Commission assured that no Nigerian will be left uncounted regardless of the location.
Nationwide will continue with Amina in Kaduna after the break, but do not forget that you can still follow this news broadcast live on our website at nta.ng/live and on our other social media handles displayed on the screen for updates. We'll be right back to stay on.
The Nigerian police force is reassuring Nigerians of their safety before, during and after the elections. Assistant Inspector General of Police Ahmad Abdurrahman gave the assurance during an official visit to Kaduna ahead of the 11th March governorship and state assembly elections. Haruna Mohammed reports.
In the next couple of days, Nigerians will be heading to the polls for the governorship and state assembly elections, and the Nigerian police force is not letting any stone unturned, hence the visit by the Assistant Inspector General of Police. Assistant Inspector General of Police Ahmad Abdurrahman on a strategic visit to Kaduna ahead of the governorship and state assembly elections. In a meeting with the Commissioner of Police and his lieutenants of Kaduna Command, says the meeting was an avenue for stock taking and to re-strategize ahead of the forthcoming elections.
The Inspector General of Police, who prior to the election, he sat down and had his own action plan for the nation, which we now it was cascaded up to the commands and up to the divisional level, which we are always working with. And then he provided us with anti-riot equipment, apart from mental capacity building.
He says the presidential and national assembly elections was peaceful and called on politicians to always play by the rules of the game.
There is no tolerance by the security arrangement of the Nigeria Police Force and all other security agencies, that anybody who comes out to play the gallery by thuggery and causing or inciting disturbance, he will be dealt with according to the law. So therefore, I'm calling on the politicians to talk to their supporters.
The police and other security agencies are assuring Nigerians of their safety before, during and after the general elections. Kaduna, I am Harun, NTA News.
Nigerian armed forces sustain employment of full spectrum operation using whole society approach in the ongoing counter-insurgency and counter-terrorism operations in all parts of the country. This is a resolution of senior military personnel at the Counter-Terrorism and Counter-Insurgency Seminar held at the Armed Forces Command and Staff College, Jaji, Kaduna. Sulema Rugachukwu reports.
Being the leading instrument of power in mission command philosophy and clearance operations, the military also recognized the imperative of effective synergy with communities dealing with threats to national security.
Security agencies all over the world are being guided by the Code of Conduct and Rule of Engagement, which derives its origin from the international humanitarian law of armed combat.
Force Commander, Multinational Joint Task Force, Major General Abdul Khalifa Ibrahim, delivered lecture on the role of leadership in counter-terrorism and counter-insurgency operations.
National security strategies and policies now explore beyond the traditional military solution to ensure that prevailing national security threats are holistically addressed within a multi-sectoral coordinated effort.
The counter-terrorism and counter-insurgency students of Senior Course 45 of the Armed Forces Command and Staff College, Kaduna, focusing on whole society approach towards enhancing operations, is recent among series of stakeholders engagement by the military aimed at intensifying collaboration in intelligence sharing and patriotic commitment against criminality. Implementable recommendations on how to curtail population displacement, degraded infrastructure in areas worst hit by terrorist attacks is also expected at the end of the seminar. Suleiman Rigachkun.
Back to Lami in Abuja. Lami in Abuja.
Thank you so much, Amina. Now, President Muhammadu Buhari says the government is determined to further stem crime and make the country a hub for the supply of armored vehicles and military equipment for the development of the armed forces of Nigeria. The president stated this while virtually inaugurating 700 Ashok Leyland troops carrying vehicles for the armed forces in Abuja. Defense correspondent Ismail Musa brings us the details.
In view of the complex and dynamic nature of some of the nation's emerging security challenges, the armed forces are conducting different operations with records of success. Top-scale troops capacity and rapid response to threats through deployment of platforms. President Muhammadu Buhari approved the procurement of 700 locally made Ashok Leyland troops carrying vehicles.
With the induction of these vehicles, the armed forces will be better equipped to ensure troops are conveyed safely and timely to objective areas, which would enhance the operational efficiency of the services.
With the advent of various phases of insurgency recorded by our country, it is imperative for us to think inwards and provide local preventive and protective mechanisms to fortify our critical assets, formations, borders, and all various camps across the country, with the sole mandate to ensure that insurgency is contained to its barest minimum.
The president, who virtually inaugurated the vehicle, says the procurement is a testimony of government's commitment to further stem security threats, develop the nation's military-industrial complex, and promote socio-economic development.
I have no doubt that the employment of these vehicles, which I have just commissioned, would increase the lifting capacity of the armed forces of Nigeria, thereby adding to the combat efficiency levels. This demonstrates the commitment and the importance the federal government attaches to the fight against insurgency, criminalities, and the welfare of personnel. I therefore charge you to consolidate on the gains we have achieved towards sustaining the peace and stability of the country.
The procurement of the vehicles is in line with the Executive Order 5 signed by President Muhammadu Buhari to enhance the nation's local content policy, reduce capital flight, and generate employment. In Abuja, Ismail Musa, NTA News.
The federal government is to develop a legal framework to enhance the ongoing de-radicalization, rehabilitation and reintegration program for repentant insurgents in the Northeast. This is the focus of the program organized by the Office of the National Security Advisor and the Ministry of Humanitarian Affairs, Disaster Management and Social Development with the Nigerian Army Resource Center in efforts aimed at addressing the menace of terrorism while adopting a holistic approach.
The Office of the National Security Advisor will continue to effectively engage with all stakeholders to ensure effective implementation of all programs in conformity with our policy documents.
Stakeholders also said proper collaboration among agencies and the need to strike a balance on the requirements of the surrendered insurgents and victims, as well as defined legal framework for the program, need to be encouraged.
While we are looking at how to treat the insurgents who have surrendered, how do we treat the victims who have suffered, who have lost loved ones due to the actions of these people we want to take back to the communities, and how do the government look after the communities as a whole? That's the reason why we're looking at the three segments at the same time. You must provide a legal framework. So the legal framework will look at possibly what do you do with people who have committed an offense and then you want to rehabilitate them.
The non-kinetic approach to counter-insurgency seeks to promote collaborative learning aimed at establishing a shared purpose for advancing disarmaments, demobilization, reintegration, DDR policy. It also enables partners to have strategic and operational level understanding of the concepts, approaches and new practices involved in the effective planning, implementation and coordination of the DDR. Now, the Minister of State for Foreign Affairs, Ambassador Zubairu Dada, has summoned the Burkina Faso envoy to Nigeria, Pascal Guba, over the gruesome murder of 16 Nigerians who were on pilgrimage to Kaolack, Senegal, more than a month ago. A statement by the Foreign Affairs Ministry acknowledges a report by Jamiatu Ansaruddin Atijaniya of Nigeria, which revealed that 16 of its members were allegedly shot dead by Burkinabe soldiers on patrol while on their way to the home country of their leader, Sheikh Ibrahim Niasse in Senegal. The envoy has therefore been summoned to explain in detail what really happened amidst calls for urgent response from the government of Burkina Faso. The President-elect Bola Ahmed Tinubu was among other Muslim faithful who participated in Jumat prayers at the National Mosque, Abuja. Tinubu observed the Jumat prayer led by the Imam, Professor Ahmed Ibrahim Makari, who later offered a special prayer to thank God for his victory and good reign as a Nigerian leader. The President-elect was accompanied by Governors Abdullahi Umar Ganduje of Kano, Nasir El-Rufai of Kaduna, Yahya Bello of Kogi, Atiku Abubakar Bagudu of Kebbi, Bello Matawalli of Zamfara State, and some former governors, among other dignitaries. Musbah Al-Mahab reports that this is the first time Bola Tinubu is observing the Jumat prayers as the National Mosque since his emergence as the President-elect 2 days ago. Amidst the controversy generated in the aftermath of the February 25th, 2023 presidential election, the coalition of northern groups has commended Nigerians on their conduct during and after the polls. Dennis Adegunle reports that the group also congratulates President-elect Bola Ahmed Tinubu for his magnanimity in victory.
Is the nature of democracy. There will be winners, there will be losers, and everyone cannot agree on the results of any given election. And this is what has played out in the recent presidential election held across the country. On one side of the divide are some who claim the process was not fair and transparent, while on the other side, the consensus is that the polls were conducted in a credible and transparent manner. For the coalition of northern groups, there will always be those aggrieved in an election. After all, nobody likes to lose. And on its assessment of the presidential election, it was fair and transparent, and pockets of challenges here and there must be expected. The coalition, however, commends the sportsmanship of particularly the three major contending candidates for their leadership in calming frayed nerves and opting for judicial resolutions rather than incitement. The electorate and youths especially were also commended for their vibrant participation in the polls and their significant roles as INEC officials.
We congratulate Nigeria for passing through this patently transparent election, the result of which, in the true spirit of democracy, is accepted by some and disputed by others.
Special mention was reserved for President-elect Bola Ahmed Tinubu, with faith in his vision to tackle youth enemies.
We appreciate the incoming president's humility and maturity displayed in his acceptance speech. We urge him to keep to his promise of being just to all sections of the country.
There was a final call to the judiciary to be fair in dealing with electoral disputes that will inevitably come before it for adjudication. In Abuja, Dennis Adegunloye, NTA News.
To the cashless policy now, following the ruling of the Supreme Court this Friday that old banknotes remain legal tender until the end of this year, Bosede Abel went round town to get reactions of Nigerians.
Weeks of legal battle on the naira redesign policy between the federal government and some governors. The Supreme Court has ruled that the old and new notes should coexist till 31st December 2023. Now, this is what Nigerians have to say about this latest development.
I think it's another added turbulence to Nigerian lives. This back and forth, we've been through a lot. But nonetheless, we are almost at the threshold. We are seeing the light at the end of the tunnel.
They would have done this even before the election. But now that the election have gone, it is better for them to introduce that system, that particular system, so that the suffering for our people will reduce.
We have had court decisions before and they were not obeyed. So what gives us the guarantee now that this is a special one that will be obeyed?
For once, they should have just let this run through. We've gone through the hardest, and then they should just have allowed given the CBN more encouragement to introduce more of the new naira notes and the rest of them. Because now, how will they enforce it? If CBN doesn't release the old notes, how would they bring out the old notes?
As at the time of this report, some bank officials say they are having a meeting with the Apex Bank for the next line of action. In Abuja, Bosede Abel, NTA News.
Time now for another break, after which we join Comforts in Enugu for more reports on Nationwide. Do stay tuned.
And welcome to Enugu Network Center. As the electorate in Enugu State prepares to perform their civic duty on the 11th of March, they have called on the Independent National Electoral Commission, INEC, to re-strategize to mitigate the challenges experienced in the presidential and national elections. Susan Eze has the reports.
On the 25th of February 2022, President Muhammadu Buhari signed the new Electoral Act into law. Symbolically, on the same date, 1 year after, Nigerians went to the polls to put the new law to a litmus test. With the deployment of electoral technology such as the Bimodal Voter Accreditation System, BVAS, into the process, voters in many parts of Enugu State largely commended the innovation, but noted that technical problems with the BVAS marred the exercise in some units.
All the names from 0 to Z, it's not being captured.
It's either the BVAS is not functioning or the operation is faulty.
Late arrival of INEC and voting materials, shortage of ballot papers, relocation of voters to new polling units were some other issues that added to voters' frustration.
These electoral officers are manning several polling booths where the people are there waiting to vote. By 10:30, they are still here.
They should go back and train them so that there won't be any need for someone who is a presiding officer to start looking for another person to come and assist in transmission of results. That is very key.
With the governorship and state assembly elections due in less than 2 weeks, expectations are high that INEC would deploy proactive measures to mitigate the challenges of the past to achieve a hitch-free outing in the next elections. In Enugu, Susan Eze, NTA News.
The introduction of cashless policy in Nigeria has been described as a right step in the right direction, as it will modernize Nigeria's payment system and reduce costs of banking. Some financial analysts in Enugu applaud the new policy and also advocate for the provision of the necessary financial infrastructure to facilitate e-payment. Again, Susan Eze reports.
As Nigeria aspires to become one of the top 20 economies of the world by the year 2030, the adoption of the cashless policy is believed to be a right move towards achieving this goal. Financial experts believe the e-payment system will reduce revenue leakages and increase tax collection for improved economic development. The policy, they say, will reduce money laundering and help check terrorist financing, as well as create job opportunities in the financial sector. With all the benefits derivable from the cashless policy, implementation has thrown up several challenges.
So you can't access your funds, you cannot do it, even to transfer to other places. So nothing is working there.
But we don't have even one commercial bank existing in our local government. So how do you expect people within that vicinity to be able to go cashless?
It has really not been easy for this past few weeks on this policy.
Inadequate financial infrastructure such as banks, ATM machines, and point-of-sale facilities, low-level internet penetration, poor power supply, inadequate telecom facilities are some of the challenges observed to be impeding the smooth development of the e-payment system in Nigeria. As the CBN works to achieve the aspiration of a cashless and efficient electronic payment system in Nigeria, stakeholders call for the provision of the necessary infrastructure and sensitization of the populace. In Enugu, Susan Eze, NTA News.
And as a contribution from here is back to Lami in Abuja for more reports on Nationwide.
Thank you so much, Comfort. Now, just when motorists are relieved that the fuel supply situation in the country is improving, fuel queues have resurfaced again in some parts of Abuja. Dennis Temple went around some filling stations and gives us this update.
After about 3 months, the Abuja capital city experienced petrol scarcity. The queues have resurfaced in most filling stations. In most of the filling stations visited, some motorists lamented the situation while attributing the long queue to inability to have easy access to cash from point-of-sale machines.
The situation now is very, very hard. I'm not comfortable for the fuel. I've been here since morning, struggling how to get a fuel. It's just by the grace of God that I could be able to just chip into the police station to at least do my transaction. And upon that, the problem is this: if you want to do your POS now, you will see the transaction. They will show you transaction decline, and the problem.
I just said, let me come and buy fuel. Behold, look at long queue everywhere, every filling station. So I stay put.
So how are you going to buy it now?
I've come in and I paid through POS. Now I'm waiting for them to give me fuel.
There is no fuel in FCT. We've been here since 8 o'clock. This is almost 2 o'clock by now. No fuel, no cash, being in the queues. It's very frustrating for all of us. Right? I'm supposed to be in Gariki doing work, but I'm here. It's the issue of the marketers. It's not the issue of the consumers. It's the issue of the marketers. They know where the problem is coming from, and they should fix it. It's really unfortunate. You can see everybody's faces. Everybody's frustrated.
I feel bad. The whole situation is so bad, like so bad. I can't even say anything. Can you imagine how many hours I've spent here? I'm supposed to be in the office by this time. A woman in this country, for you to even pay for the fuel is a big deal.
However, a fuel attendant who spoke off camera says the queue has nothing to do with non-availability of the product, attributing it to logistics problem occasioned by the conduct of the elections. It is, however, the expectation that government should expedite action to stem the tide of incessant queues in filling stations. In Abuja, Dennis Temple, NTA News.
Today is World Hearing Day. The focus this year is access to ear and hearing care at the level of primary health care. Salwa Khalil Ibrahim will tell us more.
The ear is one of the most important organs in the human body. Hearing is a gift, yet some human actions are a threat to the ear and hearing ability. The ear gadgets you use, such as earpiece, earbuds and headphones frequently, how safe is it?
That exposes the ear to very loud sounds. Very loud sounds destroys the hair cells in the ear. You know, the part of the ear that you don't see.
Simple things like cleaning of the ear with cotton bud is an unsafe practice. Cotton bud is not meant for the ear. Everybody should hear that now. Cotton bud is primarily meant for the nose, for you to remove the crust in the nose. The ear needs no cleaning. The ear cleans itself naturally.
Despite increased awareness like this, experts say there is a prevalence of hearing loss among young population, but the battle must be won.
When you speak to a child and the child doesn't respond or doesn't answer, doesn't obey, you will tend to think that the child is very stubborn. But you should check the child's hearing. It may be that the child is not hearing well. For this year's program, we are not stopping in the hospital here. We're actually reaching out to the community.
Do you know that Nigeria has ear, nose and throat ENT policy of 2018? The ENT policy is designed to, among other things, give access to ear care at all levels of health care. The 2023 World Hearing Day re-emphasized the need for integrating ear and hearing care as an essential component of universal health coverage.
As of today, we are talking of a relatively new area in ear and healthcare system, which is community ear and healthcare. And this is really targeted at everybody, especially people at the hinterland.
Countries can empower their primary healthcare workforce to better support people with ear and hearing problems. WHO calls on governments, health professionals, and civil society to work with us to champion a vision of accessible ear and hearing care for all.
Meanwhile, as you listen to that loud sound via your ear gadget, remember that hearing is a gift, and if lost, it may never be recovered. Salwa Khalil, NTA News.
We join our sports desk for the latest news from the world of sports.
Get our first target, that is qualify for the World Cup, and that alone, I think we have all achieved together.
The qualification for the World Cup gives them a gateway, pathway to actually do more.
The most important thing is that Nigeria is back on the global stage when it comes to the Under-20 World Cup. And
still on football, the Confederation of African Football CAF will continue to monitor the level of preparation and readiness of Côte d'Ivoire as host of the 2024 African Cup of Nations. The special committee is in Abidjan and will be there till 8th of March to monitor progress of the facilities built to host the tournament. They will visit 6 stadia selected for the forthcoming African Cup of Nations. On to the FIFA Women's World Cup now. The FIFA Women's World Cup Trophy Tour, which is on the tour, will arrive Abuja on March 26th as the World Soccer ruling body prepares to display the trophy across 32 nations ahead of the tournament. Nigeria will be the 9th country on the tour of 32 countries that will participate in the Women's World Cup in Australia and New Zealand in July. According to FIFA, the campaign is to inspire and celebrate the growth of women's game and to encourage young women to take up football around the world. In basketball, Nigeria's basketball champions Kwara Falcons secured their first win at the Invitational Basketball Tournament in Abidjan. The Nigerian basketball champions lost their first 2 games before beating Kadija Sports Academy 52-49 in their third match. The tournament was organized to put invited teams that will participate in the 2023 African Basketball Championship in shape. With sports updates, Gift George, NTA News.
And that brings us to the end of Nationwide. We thank you for watching. Join us at 6, 7 and 9 for more reports. Have a good weekend.